Hey, it's Dan, and welcome to Unified Gaming. So today guys, we are going to be hopping on to the PTS and really looking at pure classing and kind of the class masteries and doing a deep dive on kind of what is really good, what can we do with some of the builds we made in the past, how will the class masteries make our builds much more viable and competitive. I also want to kind of throw together a few ideas for things like Oakensaw Warden. I know people really want to see that, and just kind of really test a few things out. So, as always, if you get questions about this kind of stuff, let me know in the comments. It really helps out. And if you like what I do and want to support, then do consider liking and subscribing. It really makes a big difference, more than you realise. We're trying to get up to 20,000. And if you want to support further, there are details on screen and how you can do it sort of elsewhere. I'm going to give the stream about 5-10 minutes or so whilst I just set up a build in the background. So that way you'll be able to see kind of what you're doing, what I'm trying to get out of this. And then we'll kind of really see what is possible with this stuff. So on the screen is just some gameplay from an upcoming build. This is going to come out probably tonight or tomorrow for members, and then it'll be public sometime after. So we've given it a couple of minutes for people to find the stream, and what we're going to do is we're going to set up a Sorcerer build using the new class masteries and see what you can do. Brian says he loves the class sets too. I'm a returning player, got to 2000 CP. I'm happy with the changes and look forward to update 50. I am like on the same page as you, mate. So we've given it a bit of time. We'll hop onto it now. So we are on the PTS, and everything you see from here on out is week 1 PTS. What this means, things will change, but it shouldn't be massively too dissimilar to what you see now. Okay, so we're going to quickly talk about what our class mastery is, because that's just, it's quite new, it's exciting, and then throw together a build. I want to update my Archmage Sorcerer. It's an Oakensaw Sorcerer. It's really strong, it's really fun, and now we've got masteries to make it even better. So, what are masteries first and foremost? Masteries is the brand new system they've added to the Elder Scrolls Online in update 50, sorry, as part of Season 0 moving into Season 1. This system is all focused around giving pure classes, so pure builds, people who have not subclass, additional power to bridge the gap between a base class with no subclassing and a subclass build. In PvE, subclassing is significantly stronger with things like Arcanist Beam and Nightblade. You can see the idea. In PvP, you also have similar issues with people running the Warden base class, using the Templar Restoring Light, and they chuck in like Assassination, for example, and you kind of got a very strong jack of all trades, really broken build. What this means, however, is class mastery and kind of pure classing has fallen off the cliff. So this is their solution. Each class will have access to 5 passives, as you can see here. These passives cost 0 skill points, that's worth stressing. There's no Sky Shard farming, which I really appreciate. And this becomes available once you hit 50 on your base class. If, however, you change one of these skill lines from Dark Magic, Daedric Summoning, Storm Calling to something else, the class mastery turns off and you lose access to this. Additionally, you can only have 2 masteries on at a single time. And some masteries are not compatible with each other. Zos will come up with more details about this, but just bear in mind that some things won't stack in specific ways for balance and power reasons. Additionally, some of these tooltips and these numbers will change because it is a work in progress. With that kind of out of the way, we're going to quickly touch upon the class masteries for Sorcerer, and then we'll make a build and see the difference between what I've currently built before and what we can now do. So looking at the Sorcerer class masteries, which I do think are pretty busted personally, we have Conservation of Energy. And it says spellcasting is your second nature to you, a skill honed by tireless study. It upgrades blood magic to rank 2, and it works with any ability giving you magicka and stamina when it activates, and it scales off your max magicka, which means this becomes a really high sustain skill. And not only that, if you look at blood magic, When you use this, you also get health. So what this means is that with this class mastery as a sorcerer, any button you push will heal you and give you magicka and stamina back, which is absolutely insane. So this is the kind of power that we will get if we keep as a base class, because it's pretty strong. We then have Font of Power. Within you is a wellspring of near unlimited power. It upgrades rank 2 of exploitation to work with any sorcerer ability and increases your weapon and spell damage by 14% for 10 seconds. This weapon and spell damage increases by 1% for every 1,750 magicka or stamina you have. This is just a huge amount of spell damage, and on a max magicka sorcerer, you can see you can hit some pretty crazy numbers. We then have Static Reverberation. This is the old implosion. So when you deal damage, you have a chance to proc an additional source of damage, and the lower the target's health, the more this will proc, and this will scale with just more stats. We then have Calculated Defense. Success is a certainty when nothing is left to chance. While beginning to use a sorcerer ability or an ability with a cast time, you gain a damage shield for half a second, so not long, but still pretty good, that blocks like 8.5k damage. This scales with max health, and if the shield does not break, you and nearby group members gain 3% weapon and spell damage for 20 seconds. So like this, again, is a defensive one that gives you damage, and if you can use this consistently, you get really high defense, really high damage. It's just super nice. And then we've got Sphere of Influence. Magicka extends your reach, benefit to those who fight beside you. Casting a damage shield on yourself or an ally grants an additional 150 health, magicka and stamina recovery, and a shield for 4 seconds that absorbs 3.9k, and this scales with your magicka or health, whatever's higher, but is capped at 25% of the health of the target. There's a lot there, a lot to unpack. So what we're going to first do is build the sorcerer. It's going to be the oaken sorcerer that I use currently, and then chuck on these to see how good does it become, because I'm really excited. As always, if you get questions about what we're doing, just let me know in the chat. But first and foremost, we are going to set up the Oaken Sorcerer, which I think is a fantastic build, one of my favourite ones. It's very strong. It's a pure class anyway, so this is just even better for us. And I'll probably do a DK too. So we're going to hop into the High Isle, get the good old Oaken Chad. Absolutely love this mythic because it just makes the game fun. It's not the most optimal, but it's really fun to play with. And I know lots of people really enjoy Oaken Soul. And then on the build, we were actually using an overland set called 3 Queens. If I remember, it's a light armor set. There it is, 3 Queens Wellspring. And basically, the more magic you have, the more regen you got out of this. It's really good. Like, if you can get this, gonna help you a fair bit. So I'm gonna bish bash to get all of these, get some weapons, some jewelry. So if you've just joined, what we're quickly making is the Oaken Soul Sorcerer that's on the channel. If you've not seen that, do check that out. It's a really fun build. And then we're going to have a look at what else we can do. So I'm just putting these in the rough places. Okay. We then had additionally a set called Black Gem Monstrosity. Super good set. Fantastic for what we're trying to do. It's just free damage. Like, why would you not use this? And again, you can go for like heavy or medium. So if you want to try and get some undaunted passives going, just take some of these. So we're going to go for Impen, on both of these, just because that's what I recommend with such a high crit patch coming. Again, we've got this set. And then I think I used a bit of willpower, 2 willpower and some trainee, if I remember. So we had willpower, which gave us this extra magicka, which is great. So 2. Grab the other piece of willpower. Okay, so if you've just joined, we're throwing together the Max Magicka's Oaken Sword build that we have on the channel. It's really good. And then we had 2 trainee. So we'll put this here. And if you want to maximize resistances, you preferably want to go with like a heavy chest resistant, for example. That will really help our just survivability. And then medium for undaunted, or medium has the same thing as the helmet, same weight on the helmet and legs, so it doesn't matter there. So we'll just go for medium just because I wanted to look the same. We've got 3 queens, trainee, black gem. We'll change the black gem. I think I went with more medium armor on black gem if I recall. They're both medium, so that's not too bad. So we've got medium, couple light, couple medium. Yeah, perfect. So what we're now doing is going to be looking at getting our consumables and stuff. On one says, is this good on Xbox to build? I personally like the build. I think the build's solid. It's one of the stronger ones for 1-bar build. With masteries, it's going to be even better. So I do think it's worth like looking into. And I want to spend like this evening just trying different build ideas and really looking at how far can we push this mastery system. And to go, is it going to be really, really good or really, really bad? And my thinking at the moment is there's some really cool stuff with it. I believe there was a purple fisheye one. Whatever that is, there it is. The pickled fish bowl just gives you tons and tons of health. It's really, really good. So we're going to sort out our skills in a second. Okay, so we're really on like 35k Magicka. We haven't really got any passives and stuff going. Like, so let's get some stuff going for the build, okay? So on this, we ran Hardened Ward. Okay, that was very good. That gave us just more stuff. I used to use, and I still will use Crystal Weapon. This is really nice. It's quite a good delayed skill for like just big oomph. From Storm Calling, we had Streak, super good. Like super good. And I think I went with like Contingency, if I remember. So let's get a scribing table down here, because we're going to make 2 scribe things. And then we'll go and quickly scribe some skills. I'll save the build and show it, see if people are curious. Got all those. And yeah, we're just going to quickly reload. If people have any questions with like masteries or werewolf changes that's coming also, just let us know in the chat. But we want to really kind of play with the masteries today and see how good are they in all honesty. So we were utilising Wield Soul as a spammable with shock damage for the Sorcerer class mastery. Well, they've now called it class Flourish, which I kind of get. They've renamed it just to make it clearer, that having mastery and then this mastery. And then we had Breach. This was the like shock and soul, very good. I just need to get the ink quickly from the supply. There's our scribings. I thought I grabbed it. I might need to find where the little ink is. I need that sent over for later. Not gonna be there. So they've moved. Sometimes they move stuff around it, and I always forget where they move it. There's a box called Scribe and Supplies, which should give you 200 ink. And if it hasn't, we might need to go and quickly... Because at the moment we have no ink for some reason. Okay, I need to find where the ink is in the box. Bear with me one sec. There it is. They've changed it so it's now a box. So we are just quickly throwing together the 1 bar Sorc and to see what can we do with this. Unfortunately, we have to always rebuild on PTS, but it is what it is. So this is Shocking Soul. Very, very good spammable. And then we then had Contingency, which was also like really, really good too. So we had Healing, we had Gladiator's Tenacity for just more survival, and then we had, I think it was Resolve if I remember, because you intellect and endurance from Oaken Salt as it is. This basically just made us have a Bertil that kept us alive, and we had good old Overload with Energy Overload for more sustain. So this was mostly the build we had. We're going to just put on all the glyphs that we need properly. Bish bash bosh. Get some magical ones, and I get some magical recovery tweak as needed. And then I'm going to go with just lots of magical glyphs and some prismatic for the big pieces. Prismatic, prismatic. And magic, and then magical on all the small pieces. Okay, so our magic is on 37,000, which is pretty decent. Let's get the Mundus Stone. I think I can use the Mage if I remember, or it might be the Lover I've recommended. It was a while since I made that video, so we'll grab both. There's the Mage. So if you just joined, we want to update the Oaken Salt Sorcerer because it used base classes anyway, so it's kind of like a no-brainer. Go down to 16 here. And I think we've got pretty much what we want for this build. We just need to sort out the champion points, which again will make a little difference. And like this is one of my favourite builds that I made because it feels and works so well. If anybody has access to the PTS, you're more than welcome to jump on, and we can obviously fight. But I appreciate it's always hard to find people to fight on the PTS. So we had Deadly Aim, which was just great. Master Arms, which is even more damage. We had Fighting Finesse for just a crit chance. Crit damage, crit healing. And I think I used Arcane Supremacy for more Magicka. I think it was this, that was the stuff I used generally. And then hopefully like this will give you an idea of what the masteries can do. I wanted to like really throw the build together properly and not like skimp out on it, because I don't think that's fair for you guys to see, oh, they're really good or they're really bad without a proper build set up. Get our damage shield one nice here. Cool. Get our vitality. And we're going to go for Pain's Refuge with just more mitigation. Okay, so that's some CP in now. We've got 41k Magicka, which is pretty decent. Our shield is a good 22k, which is, that's pretty large. I'm just going to put on a costume quick because I hate how that looks. Let's go. Oh, skill stars. Change it later on. Costumes. I'm just playing now. Look at the costumes I've got. Templar one that is. I thought we were going to use this, but I changed it blue. Sorry, I'm playing a fashion game at the moment. I don't normally do this, but I quite like that outfit. Where is the size here? So we're going to go and that blue, that looks better. Just by changing that already looks better. Well, let's go with like is there a nice white? Yeah. I want to go with like a yeah. I'm thinking like kind of like lightning color build. Oh yeah, yeah. I'm happy with that. Okay, sorry, I was messing around with it. Nightlight says, is it true you can be a magical-based werewolf now, or is everything still only stam? A lot of the skills cost stamina on the werewolf, having checked it. The heal is magica-based, but the skills are so cheap, and you've got a lot of stam built into some of the skills, I think you could probably make it work, and use like stack magica and then use like a smaller stam pool, just enough like 15,000. Maybe 20,000 and go for like 30k mag, and you'll have your damage scale from the Magicka anyway because it's a higher stat, and that would work. Okay, so let's look at what we got. Our spammable. I will have a little look at that in a second, night. Okay, so ours is 10k with this additional bit. For some reason, that's got the wrong script, so let's change that quick. That should be. Fast Flourish. I did put that on there as well. Hopefully that's now, yeah. So this is kind of what I'd expect. It was about a 10k with a 2.5k. So this is pretty standard stuff to what we had before. Like this is how the build felt and looked. Now the question is, how will masteries affect this? I know people are going to ask. Here's a superstar if you want to see it. So there you go. Enjoy. Go with the mage. Our penetration is a little low, so the lover might be a good shout here. And we then need to change our like traits on our weapon and stuff. Because our weapon is, yeah, that's the wrong trait. But let's quickly do that. I want to kind of get it as accurate as we can. Get that reinforced. Forced. That'd probably go in pen actually. Okay, so I think we've got the stuff kind of where they were before. These should all be arcane. And then we just need to change the actual glyphs on them. Yeah, so look, our magic is now 45k by doing this stuff. We've got 8k pen. Our regen is really high. We do not need that high regen. So we'll change this to be spell damage. Ghost Wordy says, anything nice happening for Mag on Templar? Well, these masteries, classes that have really good base kits like Templar, Sorcerer, Dragon Knight, Nightblade, will really benefit from this, because these are really good. So like this is our base kit that we would use before, and the combo would be like light attack like this, and then we need to, we'll go crystal weapon and then light attack streak, and that would hit really, really hard, like really hard. And then what this does, this procs blood magic, which is 10% more magicka, The magic is 45k, our health is 30k, our stamina is higher. So if I do this here, look, 49k magicka, like this is really high. It's disgusting. So with the masteries now, what can we add to make this better? Now I know conservation of energy, this is broken as hell. This is like stupidly good. Like stupidly good. I can't get how strong this is. So I like the look of this, and I do like this is increased damage. So works with any sorcerer ability and increases your weapon and spell damage by 25%. Let's see what they do, okay? We're gonna look at the tooltips quick. I want to see how good font of power is. So let's write in the YouTube chat. It's 3997, okay? Spell damage. We're gonna put on font of power because when we do this shouldn't increase our spell damage. Yeah. Like Sorcerer Mastery for PvP is completely busted. It's so strong. So let's put this goes up again. It's 27% for some reason. Okay, so let's see. Is it like damage? Oh no, it's now fired. We got like 5k spell damage, and the animation though, like you look really cool. Like the crystal weapon looks awesome. And our spell damage, literally 5k with 50k mag, that is insane on an open soul build. Like actually insane. I am like proper buzzing for the next patch. And that's only one of them. But it's, you know, 5k spell damage and 50k mag with 30k health on an oaken soul build is ridiculous. We've got 2k recovery base. We have loads of sustain. What other options can we do? Font of power looks very, very good. It upgrades it to work with any ability. It's increased base from your magicka. Because we stack magicka, we got a massive boost out of this. We then have conservation of energy. This is really good for healing. So I might go with this because every time we use a skill, we block blood magic, which is 3,200 health. Now this is halved in PvP, so it's 1,600 health. It's not bad. Like, if I put on Vigor for a second, let me just show you what Vigor is, okay? Jim is not as busted as Warden will be for PvP. Warden has some tasty stuff. So if I put this here for the moment, okay? So this figure is 4,100, or basically 2,050 in PvP, because it's halved in PvP. Per tick. This basil is 1,600, so it's not that much less. It's basically having Vigor on all of the time. Every time you do a damage, you will get a Vigor for free. So you're constantly healing if we go for conservation of energy. We also get 900 magicka back every second. I wonder, I'm just thinking like out loud, pardon the language, but this, it feels like you could do some absolute BS with this. Because if you get 900 magicka back every time, let's go for a moment. Wield Soul, shock damage. Where is Jury's Resurgence? That's 600 there. So hear me out, okay? Hear me out. So at the moment, that's 900. We get 600 back. So this skill is 1,600, yeah? If we put on this skill is 700. If we can get 700 cost reduction, we can fire this for free, and we won't lose magicka. So I want to just see, can we do something stupid like that? Because I think we're a Breton, so we've got a little bit of cost reduction as it is. But like, if I look at this, my magicka, it just, like, we can just do this ridiculous. But the healing on this, every time we're doing this, we're healing 1,600 health. So we are constantly healing as we're doing damage. Everything will heal us. So this will heal us, this will heal us, that will heal us, this will heal us. I do feel like this one could be very fun. I think for some builds this will be very good for just passive healing. The sustain is very nice, but I think it's the healing that is the play. I'm just going to put on class Flourish, which is the old class mastery, just so we want the extra damage. Knight says the magic one isn't too important in my opinion. Mag sustain isn't really that bad. I would use this conservation of energy, not for the magic sustain. I would actually use it for the healing. Getting this free healing on Oakensaw builds, you really lack healing. Like, it's really hard to stay alive because you don't have that much heals. So this really helps fix that. Adela in Twitch says, hey mate, stream's pretty cool. This is why I followed you. I can see people are not showing up. So no, I appreciate you coming on. And yeah, he's in my Discord. So if you need help, just obviously message me in Discord, Gimmick. And equally, if you've not joined the Discord, there's links in the stream and stuff and down below. I think this is very good. We then have static reverberation. When you deal damage, you have a 1% chance for every 1% missing health to do 1600 damage every 0.2 seconds. I think this is better with False Pulse. Because on False Pulse, you have 3 hits, don't you? You've got the status effect. So maybe this would be really good with False Pulse Asylum. If you use the Asylum special weapon with False Pulse, you often proc Burn and Shield Concussion. That's 3 sources there. Plus you got the 3 hits of the beam. That's 6 sources. Yes, it can proc every 0.2 seconds, but you are going to proc this pretty much consistently at that point. When they're like below 70% health, this would just be proccing constantly. So I think you'd use this with Asylum. You got Calculated Defense. When beginning to use a Sorcerer ability, you gain a damage shield. 11,000. Let's see if we can help. That damage shield looks quite fun. Because I'm assuming it's any Sorcerer ability. So if we cast this, yeah. Oh my goodness, look at that. And it stacks with the shield. But if we did this, you literally have this massive shield all of the time. Now the shield doesn't last that long. I think the shield's fun. I don't think it's that practical in all honesty. If the shield doesn't break, you get a 3% damage boost. 20 seconds. Okay, how much does that pull up our spell damage? Let's have a look. We were on 5k, weren't we? Let's go and get my streak back on, because that will give us more damage. Okay. Yeah, so 4,800, that's pretty high. I don't feel like this is stacking with that. Oh no, it's 5,000, yeah. That's a pretty stat page for an Oakensaw build, isn't it? The damage though, it's only like a 100 weapon and spell damage. I don't think this is worth it. So we won't use that. We've then got Sphere of Influence. Casting a damage shield grants everybody regen. And an additional shield for 4 seconds that absorbs. Does that shield go on you? That's worth checking. Just checking with chat. Knight was saying reverb is the good one. Reverb on Wolf is gross. And then have you tested the new Werewolf on DK? Which class sets? Is it strong? Most people think that Wolf is better on Sorc. I have gone through heavily on stream. The Sorcerer, in my opinion, is by far the best Werewolf, just period. Because a lot of the passives work in Werewolf from here, and the masteries also work in Werewolf really, really, really well. So you've got free healing and sustain in Werewolf, fantastic. You've got really high execute damage for free. Like, it is not close, honestly. Sorc Werewolf is like S++++++, and then like DK is like B tier. It's like different tier completely. Let's see, does that work? We get rid of this. Does Sphere of Influence work on yourself? Like, it sounds stupid, but if you get an extra 7,000 5,600 shield. Yes, it's halved, so it'll be like 3,800 roughly. You do. Oh, you do get that. Oh, that is... Because that's like an extra 3k on your shield. Okay, let's go into Imperial City and have a little play with this. Because... Oh, you got veterans. Oh, sorry, I want to have a little play with... They've added all this stuff. Oh, I've only just seen this. So when you do Vengeance, you can unlock the passives, which is really cool. Oh, okay. Let's pop into. Yeah. Oh, I want to pop into Vengeance. Sorry, I've got sidetracked because I quite like Vengeance. I like what they tried to do there. It's just very quick and easy to get into the gameplay, which I really like. I hate farming sets, so as someone who's a little bit lazy, this is quite good for me. I just want to see just what's changed here quickly. Yes. Okay, so you've got Soldier, Vanguard, Battle Medic. The same one. Scout was like really OP. And then can I configure it? How do I configure it? Perks. So I was wanting to see. Oh, they list them all. Great. So I'm just like having a little look at quickly. So you often run the penetration. Healing, armor, crit damage. This was very good. The critical healing, that was very, very good. I remember the yellow ones being pretty mid, in all honesty. That's a nice one. Aided, well, it'd be cool if this like lasted when you died. This would be really good. Just on a slight side note. Soul Gem, full damage, move speed when breaking. A lot of people just use that. That was quite good. Oh, that's quite a fun one. Mount speed, very nice. Sprint speed, that's good. Okay, so you're probably going to go bolstered running for most builds and there. And I think we used a crit one. There's one that was like while sprinting, health and mag regen. Yeah, I'll have a proper look at this. I don't want to spend all the stream messing around with this. But yeah, there's some. Just as anything. So they're all the same. They're all the same. You got Fighters Guild, Mage Guild. You got some. Oh, you got some new ones. So you got Vengeance Scout. What's this? Focus fire. Call out to allies. Focus fire on a single target for 6 seconds, reducing the target's armor by 1980. For each enemy, for each nearby enemy, up to a max of. Oh, that's really cool. This is like a way they should add this in the base game. But this basically allows you to pick people in ball groups and lower the armor, which is really nice. This is a really cool thing. Throw a blade, bleed, nimble feet. Your agile dance will make Rajin grin. So it's just stun. It looks like. Concentrate attacks on a distant enemy for 20 seconds, granting you and nearby enemies range. That's a really cool skill idea. So you can basically attack further with this skill. That's really nice. Like, I'd love this in the base game, because it would really make group play more interesting. You got cloak in here. Cloak yourself in the shadow, become invisible for 3 seconds, and immediately cleanse yourself. This is cool. So you get cloak for all classes now. Sorcerer cloak, that'll be coming in. And a 50% speed boost. Oh, that is a really good. That is a burst of speed. Sorry, if you've played Vengeance, there's actually a few new things that look pretty decent. This scout line looks really cool. And I guess you get these. These are like based on the skill lines, aren't they? The assault class. Can I slot them? Count. Scout. What does this look like? Sorry, I'm just like. Okay, that's basically channel deceleration. Raise against her. We move quick with that. Look how quick you move. That's quite nice, that is. What does cloak look like? Oh. That's interesting. I was looking at the animations. I'm like geeking out over the changes in Vengeance. Sorry. That won't work on us. Only that's area that this could work possibly. Oh, this is Vault. This is Vault. Meow. That's Vault. Okay. So I got sidetracked with Vengeance stuff. If you want to see more Vengeance stuff, let me know in the chat and I might do a stream on it. But we're going to hop into IC and we're just checking the shield on the Sorcerer class mastery. And just catching with chats. Swirly says, when does this go live? I think it's June 8th. So 3-4 weeks from now, roughly. And then console is a couple of days later, but they're trying to sync those a bit more. Broad says, cheers for the answers. Salk Werewolf, honestly, way to go. Race-wise, you want to really consider what race you use. Orc gives you speed boost when you sprint, which is quite nice. If you go for like Dark Elf, you've got a bit more Magicka, which helps with healing, so that can be quite useful. And you also got weapon and spell damage. Okay, so we've got the shield. What I'm checking for people curious is this Sphere of Instance. It's an extra 3,800 on our shield, and our shield is 11,000. So this is like a 15k shield now. We combine the two, which is pretty big. That's a massive shield. And I think this hit gives us regen. We get extra regen too. Casting a shield on yourself and ally grants 150 Magicka stamina regen, which is the regen's not bad. Yeah, there it is. It's applied there. So there's like an extra 200 buffed. 242. Yeah, it's almost 200 buffed. So that mask, that's pretty cool. Font of Power is insane. But that also procs Font of Power. We get a huge spell damage boost. So the question is, I'm going to put a poll up. Do you think we should, on the Oaken Sword Sorcerer, this is what this is, should we stack the damage ones or go for like a utility, like the extra healing, or go for the extra shield? So I'm going to put a poll up and see what you think. So it literally will be damage masteries, sustain, which will be the blood magic, and then be shield. So these are the 3 poll options, yeah? On YouTube. If you're on Twitch, I don't know how to do it there, sorry. Because like we hit freaking hard. Look how hard we hit there. That is like, we hit so hard. I would love to be able to find somebody to fight on the PTS, but there isn't always many people on here. That was literally 25k to the ad. That's like 12k to player. Obviously, after armor, so about 6 to 8k on our spammable, which is disgusting. We can respec it, which is awesome. I want to check this one, sorry, because I do think the sustained healing. Let me just check that did apply. So the blood magic procs you, but because we're at full health, it doesn't show us. So if I get low health, and you will see every button I push, like my shield now heals me. That's 1500 heal. My spammable heals me. But every button that we will push will heal us for 1500 health. Let's see if we can find like a boss or something. And you also bear in mind, we also get sustain as well. So even break free healed us. That was interesting. Does Roll Dodge? Oh, Roll Dodge heals us. What the hell? Break free healed us. So look, roll dodge heals us. That's like Gore Thief in a passive. And some. 1500 healing from break free. So you could like contingency, roll dodge, break free. You literally get 3 heals. And as we do damage, we're just healing up really quickly for free. CC break. And it can crit. 2.5. Okay, that is really, really, really strong. Because you also get all this free sustain. Yeah, I think this is essential. This is really good. Is it just me thinking this is like really strong? Because I think this is the play. And then Font of Power, William's like, what the F? Look, when I roll my blood magic proc, which was down there, and that would have healed us. And yeah, I can show that. Let's go against this boss thing. Does heavy attacks work? No. CC break, there's 2,500 healing. Roll, heal. Go for a patient, roll, heal. Roll, heal. Roll, heal. That's stupid. Shield, heal. Spammable, heal. Spammable. Does it work with overload? It works with overload. Yeah, so you could do... Can you do overload shock and soul? I actually think we have too much sustain. We could actually drop... Because with that blood magic, you're getting so much sustain. But they need to nerf that. I love it, but it needs a nerf. I'm sorry, this is ridiculous. Look at my magicka, it's not going down. I'm spamming skills, and I'm actually not running out of magicka. Is this me thinking this is stupid? Because we do hit very, very hard too. And because you've got so much passive healing, even when you CC break 1500 health, roll dodge 1500 health, does bash count? Bash counts. So you can do... Oh, let me get low. I can do like spammable and bash and get like 3k healing. Ready? Oh no, there's a 1 second cooldown on it. It looks like you can't... Okay, that's good. Because... it's still really, really strong. It's just the sustain. Look at the sustain. I don't think my magic has dropped below like 70%. Have you seen my magic go below 70%? Because I have not. This is like really easy to solo this boss. That is like super, super easy. I love it. I love it. I love it so much. It's broken as heck, but I love it so much. Like they need to fix it. Just give blood magic a 4 second cooldown. That will probably make it more balanced. Because this bottom part, that's completely fine. Yeah, this bit's absolutely fine. It's this bit that's the problem. Grim in Twitch says, "Hi mate, can I ask a question? Just like the game with a bundle for all classes, can you suggest a good base class for a newbie with subclassing in mind? I really like the Arcanist, but I don't know anything about the game." As a new player, I would suggest focusing on a class that has a lot of survival built in. And I personally went with Sorcerer. I did use Templar initially, and I changed to Sorcerer because Sorcerer is really flexible. As a Sorcerer, you got access to Hardened Ward, which is basically temporary health. And in PvP, it's like a 20,000 shield. This allows you to basically tank. So if you need to get into a dungeon, you can use this and fake tank. You have access to group heals with the Twilight. But this will heal you and allies. It's very good for that. You also have a pet build. So if you want to go heavy attack, if you find weaving hard, you've got really good heavy attack builds. And then you also have really good options for PvP with like Storm Calling and Dark Magic. And you can always subclass one of these out for something you like. So I would personally go as a Sorcerer because it's like really good at lots of stuff. Arcanist is very good at lots of stuff, but it's more PvE rather than PvP. So if you want to transition to PvP, Arcanist is harder to do that with. Whereas Sorcerer has good stuff for PvE and PvP. Dragonite's also very good for both because it's just been reworked, but I would go as a Sulk personally. William, it says, I think it might be glitched. It says when you cast a dark magic ability, but it seems to trigger. So it's not glitched, William, because of the class mastery, this here, it upgrades blood magic to rank 2, which means any ability can proc it. So anything we do procs blood magic, and it also gives us sustain as well. So we get 900 recovery, magical recovery, and 300 stamina, which is great. We then also get the 3,200 healing as well. Yeah. So I'm very happy with these. These are super nice. Exploitation, which is up down here. When you cast a dark magic ability, you gain minor prophecy. And what works really nice with this combo is that blood magic increases your max resource, and the font of power, the higher your max resource, the more damage you get out of it. So this is 25% because of how high our magicka is. If you push this, you will see that this is now 27%. So this is giving us a huge spell damage boost. Like a huge spell damage boost. Like we go from 4,000 almost, push that one button, it's literally set almost 800 spell damage in one button. And this is with Oakensoul. Like if I change this to Talk of the Last Aided King, we could get obscene spell damage, like probably 8-9k. Grim says these masteries are for the pure classes, and I'm on PTS or PTR. I think you might have played New World if you say PTR or PTB. So the PTS, the public test server, is what ESO call it, and these are the ones coming in the next patch. These are really good. I think the font of power, I think this is pretty good actually. This is well balanced. I think static, this is very cool for PvE. Really good PvE 1 DPS here. Super good. Yeah, New World player detected. Calculated defense. I think this is quite cool for like survival. If you're in PvE, this just gives you an extra like 7-8k shield. It's doubled in normal, which is super high. And this is good for group play. So I think these are very good. I think this is a bit strong though, personally. So I'm very happy with the Sorcerer. I'm going to see if I can find a player to fight. Because our damage is ridiculous. Like, look at that. Look. We are literally killing him in one light attack. That guy has 100k health. Let's see if we can burst that down. See? That's 50k. Yeah. That is so much burst. I really like the masteries. I'm going to die quick and see if I can find someone to duel. I think this is ridiculous though. But I'm just also thinking out loud, yeah? If you had this one with Emperor, we get the more max magicka as Emp. And this scales off your max magicka, or your max stamina. You could get like probably a 30-40% weapon damage boost on this passive alone. Which would be like actually insane. Yeah, these numbers do need a little tweaking if you ask me. I'm going to put a poll up to see what class should we jump on next, because I'm very happy with the Sulk. Sulk, I can see this working really well. This is very strong. Like, I can't stress how strong it is. So Sorcerer, super good for PvP. PvE, very good too. What class though should we jump onto next? So if you have a real strong preference, like I want to see a Dragonite, I want to see a Nightblade, I want to see a Necromancer. Not a Necromancer, please, but get the idea. What class would you like to see? And what we'll do again is we will actually set up a build properly so you can really go, I can take this with you. So if you leave the stream, you go, next patch, I want to run something like this. It gives you an idea. So we've done Sorc. We'll go Warden next. Love a good old Warden. Going to put on the poll Templar. Necro, even though I think Necro needs a big fix personally. And then I think Arcanist has some really cool stuff you can do it. Now I know we could say DK or Nightblade. DK is very cool. It's in a good spot. Again, if you're on Twitch, I don't know how to put a poll over there yet, so I'm just going to apologise in advance. And I'll give it probably 5 minutes or so. Can we get a fight with another person? It'll be great if we can. Don't think there's anybody on, because this is all NA. Oh, there's somebody here. Will he have a build? So yeah, we're going to give it 5 minutes and then we'll switch and make another build. I'll show a superstar as well when we're out of here, so you've got an idea of what to take. There's like, that was cool. Sorry, that was really cool. And that's my ADHD there. That is, I'm like easily distracted. Like walk in just watch some little ninja jump in the window. No, I don't have that stupid message. Oh. He's on his Orky boy, isn't he? Yeah, there's not many people here, so I'm not going to waste time like trying to wait for people to set up. It's just not worthwhile. So I'm going to show the superstar. That's what I would use on my Oaken Soul Sorc. It's insane. 50k Magicka, 5,000 spell damage, something stupid like that, which is ridiculous. We're pretty tanky, massive shields, massive healing. It's just very nice. And obviously we don't have our class mastery shown here, but that will be updated obviously when this add-on updates. We're going to quickly switch. I'm very happy with this build, like really happy. Looking at the poll, we have a choice of Warden, Templar, Necro and Arcanist. If you have a strong preference on which one you'd like us to try next, like do shout. Whilst we're waiting, I'm just going to jump onto each one and just show you their masteries, and then we'll pick whatever's most popular, okay? So the Warden masteries we'll look at first, then we'll look at the Templar, the Necro and the Arcanist, and then we'll switch on to whatever's popular on the YouTube poll or in chat, and we'll then go and try and make a build with it. So looking at the Warden masteries, if you have not seen them, the Warden, we'll reset those two. And again, you need to know some of the passives and how the classes work to make these kind of like usable. But your Thunder's more. So expose your enemies to unrelenting cold. Applying chill to an enemy also applies major brittle, increasing their critical damage by 20%. As a Warden, you might notice in your Winter's Embrace passives that when you apply chill and stuff to them, you get bonus damage, which is really nice. And the chill also procs minor brittle, which is 10% crit damage. So by going down this passive, you get 10% and 20%, which is 30% critical damage done. Chuck on Monomyth with Major Force, you're going to have like a huge amount of crit damage to that person. It's going to be really nasty. So this will be really bursty. You then have Wild Adaptation. The battlefield is your grove, tend to it. Gain 3/3/3 weapon and spell damage for each status effect the enemy has, up to a maximum of 16,665. Now what I will do is test this very quickly and see, does it apply to your stat page or does it apply as damage done? I think it's damage done, but I do want to just like double check that. Let's put on a staff in the back bar very quickly. That'll do. So take off the Oaken tool, I think. Yeah. So our damage is 2749, 2749, 2749. Yeah, so it's what I thought. This passive or class mastery world adaptation is damage done to the target. But if you like look at this, that's 3 status effects: burning, weakness, so the maim and the vulnerability. If you have like the magic off balance, it's another status effect. You can get chilled as a warden very easily. You're going to have probably 4 or 5 with this, which means you're going to be at this cap very often if you're using weakness to elements against a player. We then have Glacial Obstinance. Upgrades Bonds of Nature to also activate when casting Winter's Embrace abilities to grant 15% weapon and spell damage for 10 seconds if you are at full health after the heal. This is just a 15% weapon damage boost. This is quite strong. We then have Greenkeeper's Hide. So Twisted Seasons has Tempered Your Will. Reduce your damage taken by 3% for each status effect on the enemy. So this again reduces their damage done to you. So this will basically give you a 15% damage reduction, which is quite strong. And then Bountiful Harvest, it upgrades Nature's Gift to grant the healed target major heroism for 4.5 seconds and an additional 250 stamina and magicka. You'll notice that it doesn't say magicka recovery, so it's just a flat amount of resources. So that's what the Warden ones do. I think they're okay. I don't think they're as good as Sorcerer personally, but they're pretty decent. We're going to hop on to Templar next, and then Necro, and then Arcanist. So moving on onto the Templar masteries, we're going to look at these. And as part of what we're going to do is just touch upon like what needs a quick test, and then with the poll we'll make a build based on the most popular one. So for the Templar ones, we have Bastion of Light. So light concentrates the ground on which you tread. Sacred Ground is now applied when you are in your own Nova, Spear Shards, and Radial Sweep and Solar Barrage. While Sacred Ground is active, you heal for 2000 health every 1 second almost. If you're at full health after being healed from the effect, you get 2 ultimates. If you're not aware, Sacred Ground comes from Restoring Light, and when you cast this, you get some healing increase, and you also get some block. So I don't think for PvP this will be that good. Devout Guardian. Radiant is the shield that pushes back the dark. While Sacred Ground is active, you gain a damage shield for 6 seconds, up to once every 6 seconds, and the shield absorbs 4.5k damage and provides 300 regens. If the shield breaks, you get 10 ults. So this is an ult generator. The only issue with like these two, both being ult generators, in my opinion, is the Templar ult that you use is very, very cheap. So why do you need ult generation if you've got a very cheap ult, is my initial thoughts. We then have Bright of Harbinger. So Light's banner instills hope. You are its bearer. Upgrades rank 2 of Illuminate to grant Bright Harbinger for the duration, which grants 300 weapon and spell damage and to allies and doubles for you. So this is a 600 weapon and spell damage boost. Illuminate comes from Dawn's Wrath. And what this does is when you cast a Dawn's Wrath ability, you get minor sorcery, which will increase all of your spell damage by 10%, your weapon damage, which is great. So this is a 10% damage boost. You can then obviously boost this further still. So this could be quite a strong one because it's going to be 600 plus that 10%, 660 plus major sorcery. This is going to be about 1,000 spell damage boost for you, which is very, very strong. You then have Judgment's Brand. Judgment follows you in the wake of Radiance. When rank 2 of Burning Light deals damage, your Templar abilities gain 1250 damage done for 3.5 seconds. This is halved against players. This is 600 damage extra against a player, and you've got armor to come from this as well. So it's going to be like an extra 300 per hit, and even 250 to 300 a hit. If you're jabbing, you'll get 2 or 3 hits though with jab, so you get an extra like 800 damage on your spammable. So it could be good. And with Burning Light is down here. When you deal damage, You get a stack. At 4 stacks, you do this bonus damage. But it's just another way to get bonus damage. This value will obviously increase based on your weapon and spell damage. We then have steadfast condensance, I think it's pronounced, or candescence, sorry. I really misread that. Steadfast candescence. Your conviction is unwavering, light gives no quarter. Sacred Ground now activates and refreshes while bracing, increasing the amount of damage you can block. So these are the Templar ones. Again, the poll is active, which we'll look at in a second, of what we go with. At the moment, people are saying make a Templar. How would a Templar look with these new masteries? We're then going to look at Necromancer and then Arcanist. So where's my Necro? There he is. And this will give you like a good overview of all the masteries generally. But I think we started really strong with that Sorcerer. That looked very, very tasty. So with the Necromancer one, we have Nothing Wasted. Upgrades rank 2 of Corpse Consumption to auto grant a stack of Nothing Wasted for 10 seconds, which increases your max health by 2% and weapon and spell damage by 2% per stack, up to 10 times. This is a 20% boost to your max health and your weapon and spell damage. So it can be quite a big increase. Corpse Consumption, however, is from the Live and Death, and it's down here. When you consume a corpse, you get 10 ult back. This effect can occur once every 16 seconds. So my concern is that if this can happen every 16 seconds, which means you can only consume a corpse every 16, will this proc every single time? I assume it would proc each time. Would that be a bit silly if it's got a 16-second cooldown? Oh, I'm not convinced on this one yet. We then have Malevolent Promise. Death's Knell is a familiar song. Share it with your enemies. Upgrades rank to a Corpse Consumption to mark the closest non-player enemy to you with Death's Touch for 6 seconds, allowing you to use a Corpse Consuming ability on them. Consuming or replacing this effect triggers rank 2 of Death Gleaning. This effect can occur once every 2 seconds. This is a PvE one entirely. It's not what we use. For people curious though, Death Gleaning is this. Whenever your enemy or in combat dies, you get Sustain. So this basically allows you to use corpse abilities on them like Detonate and Siphon, and also get some Sustain out of it. We then have Pound of Flesh, Knock on Death's Door, and Demand Your Due. When you take damage, you have a 1% chance to heal for 2.6k and restore 5% of your missing stamina up to once every second. This chance is increased by 1% for each piece of missing health you have, and it's scaled with max health. The higher your health, the bigger the heal, and the lower your health, the more frequently you heal. This is like a way to counter executes and will make you tankier when you're low health. The healing numbers seem pretty decent. On a normal build of 30k, this will be about 3,000. And so this will be about 1,500 heal when it procs. And if you're on like 25% health, near execute, this will proc 75% of the time, which will be very, very frequent. With like dots and stuff ticking, you're going to get this most seconds. You don't have Veil's Forfeit, call souls back from an early grave, only you may grant them release. While you're in combat, directly healing the target below 50% health relinquishes them, Death's Clutches, and allows you to use a corpse consuming ability against them for 10 seconds, up to once every second. Consuming or replacing this effect grants the target 2 ultimate. So again, this is the Necromancer stuff. I personally don't think this is good for PvP. I think PvP has the issue that these skills rely on corpse consumption, and people don't consume corpses in PvP because they move away from them. So I don't think this is going to make a big difference. But if you think Necromancer could work, you want to see the build, there's a poll going, so vote on that. We are going to then swap on over to the Arcanist, and I'll take whatever is the most popular class on the vote. So the final one to check is the Arcanist out of these. And at present, The Sorcerer one looks very good, and the poll's leaning towards Templar, which we'll look to make. If it is Templar, it will then be, do we go down Oakensaw or go down a 2-bar build? So the last masteries we're going to show before we close the poll is the Arcanist masteries. We have Abyssal Emergence. Activate an Arcanist ultimate, generates Crux, and grants you 666 weapon and spell damage for 15 seconds. This is really cool, but the ultimates aren't that useful in PvP, apart from maybe Gibbering Shield. William says Nightblade Ganker. I don't think I'm going to mastery my Nightblade, in all honesty. I'll touch upon that in a little bit. But I do think we can have more fun with subclassing as a Nightblade, get a more killing power that way. So yeah, Abyssal Emergence we're not going to really use often. We're not using these ults. If they change this to be like any ultimate, this could be quite viable, but at the moment the cooldowns are too high. Fate Realigned upgrades rank 2 of Implicable outcome to generate a maximum Crux up to once every 15 seconds. After this effect triggers, you gain 300 weapon and spell damage for 25 seconds. So if we look at the Implicable outcome, it's down here. So when you consume a Crux, you gain 4 ult. This one means when you consume a Crux, you get your Crux back, and you then also get 300 weapon and spell damage. This basically lets you use your beam and then recharge your beam with how it sounds. We can quickly check that because I am curious. Let's just quickly have that one. But yeah, William was saying about a Nightblade Ganker, and I think it could work, but I just better skills maybe. So he's going to go 1 Crux, 2 Crux, 3 Crux. We've consumed them, and we get 3 Crux back already again to do another beam, which is quite cool. So this basically lets you double beam or use skills that essentially Crux really high. Now, one thing that's really cool for PvP is Abyssal Impact and Tentacular Dread. So Tentacular Dread uses Crux to amplify its damage 33%. At 3 Crux, it doubles the damage. For context, this has like a 15k tooltip to 20k when it's buffed. The issue is you can't spam it. But if you have this, you go, oh, so I get my Crux up, yeah? It's already jumped to 10k. If we put on something like Talk of the Last Aided King, just to kind of throw together a quick idea. And again, just give you some ideas of how these passives could work. And then we'll do the build that's ever most popular. I want to say it comes from Necron, if I remember. Yeah. You can tell I've played the game way too much. The fact I know where these come from. So we've got 4k spell damage there. Let's put on our damage buff. So that's our damage buff. That should go a bit higher. And then let's see if there's anything else we can do. We'll quickly grab some consumables. I just want to get some glyphs just to kind of show you what you'd kind of expect out of that this passive. And let me make these infused. So for an Arcanist, you normally sit around 4.5 to 5k spell damage, like a magical Arcanist. And this is PvP speaking. So at the moment we have 5,700, which is about right with low mag. Obviously if your mag was 30k, this will be a bit low of the build, but that's kind of like what you'd have buffed. If we put in some champion points, again, just very quickly, just to show you how powerful that thing could be if you build it properly, I think there might be some merit to this mastery for this specific use. So all we're going to do is pick the ones that boost the damage. So like direct damage, this is a direct damage skill. It's also an AoE skill. You might not use this one, in all honesty. You probably go something like Wrathful Strikes instead, because it buffs all of your damage, and then the crit. But I just want to show you how high this Tentacular Dread could get. You got 3 crocs. So this is on 16,000, and then with this ability, we can go Dread. And if we're in combat, you'll then get another one. So we can charge up, and I'll show you. The Dread, and then Dread again. And that's 2 stacked Dreads in a row, which is basically 32,000. So it's like basically having access to the Dragonite's Whip. So that's how you might want to use this one. We then have Unbound Potential, upgrade rank 2 of Fated Fortune to increase your damage done by 30% of and against players. So this is a 15% damage boost. This is really high. For Fated Fortune, it is down here. When you generate crocs, you get a 12% damage boost for crit. This will then give you just another 15% damage to players, which is a huge amount of damage. You have Eurodite's Rigor, master the Archaic and forge new runes of conflict. Upgrades Fate Woven Armor to auto grant 300 Magicka and Stamina when you take damage. Increasing by 100 per crux you have. So if you have 3 crux, this is 600 regen. And it happens, and it gives you 1 ult, and it's every 2 seconds. This is like what the Arcanists have. And then the last one is Illuminate Body and Mind with Glimmering Ink. This is Ink Scribe's Verve. While in combat, when you heal or overheal a total of 75,000, you generate a crux. I would like this to be halved in PvP. I don't know if that is. We can quickly check that actually. We'll just jump into Imperial City. Grim says he's gonna keep the eye on the suggestions and the streams, but he's got to go. No worries, and he's gonna rock a Sorcerer. If you get any issues, Grim, just message in Discord. And there's details on stream and stuff. But I'm sure Sorcerer will work out for you. Yeah, this needs to be halved in PvP. It's too high. It's too high. So we've shown all the different things. When we look at the poll, it is still saying Templar. So we're going to go over the Templar. And then we'll see what can we do with the Templar. So the question is, Oakensoul or non-Oakensoul? So, really simple. We're going to make a brand new Templar. So I'm going to find my Templar where there he is, delete him. Get rid of that bad boy. And then, can we basically make a decent Templar? I'm going to go as a Breton or a High Elf. I'm High Elf because I have High Elf on my live server. But if you want, Breton's a really good option, so is Dark Elf. Dark Elf is like better, especially with DKs. But I actually have a High Elf on my current server and I don't want to change race. So I want to stick as this, but you could switch it out. And what we're going to then do is see what can we do with this class. So we're on the Templar. We are going to hop into our little house. And then we can do some testing. The Sorcerer was fantastic. Is the Templar going to be any good though? That's the question. Okay, so we've got on over down to our house. Take some full damage, standard. The poll is looking at making a 2-bar build. So that's something we can look to do. Combat, show. And again, we're really trying to use the Really trying to kind of utilize how the Templar feels. So I like my things like in a certain thing, so they're always on. There we go. Road says maybe test the class sets for temp. Are they changed on the PTS? We can have a quick look. I don't think they have changed much of the class stuff. That's the same. Dealing damage with burning light twice, crits round. Dealing damage to Ajax spear, launches the spear. Yes, that's standard. That's the same. That's the same. Quartz Buster sounds cool. Well, that works on Necro. I don't know with the masteries. Also, is the damage going to be high enough? We need to check that. If the damage is really high, it could be fun. And then, yeah, that's the same. So it looks like the class mastery sets are the same. So what we need to do is, if we're going to build a PvP Templar, you want to have at least 30k health. So I'd start with like 32 of each resource, magic and health, just to kind of allow you to tweak afterwards, okay? When I build all my characters, I often start with the skills rather than the sets. And I know lots of people go with the sets first, but I find the skills are more impactful because the sets should complement the skills and how you play. Whereas if you pick sets that just are really rigid and fixed, it forces you to play in specific ways. So if we're playing as a Templar, I want to think about the masteries we got. I don't think we'd use that one. We'd probably use this one. And I'll probably use that one. This one doesn't seem that useful. This is just a shield and some sustain. It's not that useful. That's not useful either. So yeah, we're going to go with Judgment's brand. I think they're the two masters we have to use. They're like the best for Templar, for PvP, by far. I'm going to go with Puncher and Sweep. I'm going to go for like a classic Templar, so topple in charge. On the back bar, we're going to have Power of the Light. Power of the Light. That's for Minor Breach. I'm going to put on Beam. I know people can dodge it now. The healing on this is pretty decent. The bonus damage is nice though, so it's going to go for the damage just to begin with. We are going to go for the Spear ult. So Crescent Sweep. So again, we're trying to really play like a classic Templar. We then want our armor buff and a cleanse. So our armor buff will go for the magical one. We'll go for the cleanse. Roman says the Templar passives are kind of underwhelming. I kind of agree, I'm not going to lie. The Sorcerer ones nailed it. The Warden ones look great. The Arcanists are fantastic. Like they feel good. The Templar ones just feel a bit, is my opinion. We want a mobility skill, so where's race against time? And if anything, this gives you some ideas about how you could build your... That was meant to be race against time. I haven't tested the Magwolf yet, but I'll probably do it after this because it is 11 where I am. I've got work in the morning. You do? Hey, Modest in Twitch says, yo. Welcome to the chat, my friend. So what we're doing is we're setting up a 2-bar Templar using the masteries. Oh, Live in Dark is that way too good, not. We put this here. And then I'll probably just have like vigor. But these are the skills I'd probably use, in all honesty. A Modest says he's not that good at PvP, but he's here to learn. We all start somewhere, mate. Like, when I first started, I used to get my ass handed to me. It's the only way of saying it. It's a steep learning curve. What you do in PvE and in PvP are like completely different. It's going into a different world. You go from a place of trying to get all the dots on them and rotating to burst and landing skills at the same time with really high instant damage. Which also then means when you fight people who do that, you have to know how to read situations and how to move and kite and dodge and sustain, and then read the ebb and flow of the combat and go, when do I attack them when they're vulnerable, and do that to them without being exposed to myself. And that's why I like PvP, because it's that back and forward constantly. So I'm happy with the skills. I think this is what I'd use on the Templar typically. The question then is set wise. So in all honesty, it's going to sound a bit bland, but Rallying Cry is like staple for Templar. It's so good. Because it's just defense and it's damage in one. So this is from Cyrodiil. It's a light armor set. It's like the bread and butter for most builds. So Rallying Cry, and I'll choose sash, weapons, and jewelry. Knight says PvP mainly comes down to CCing off cooldowns, stam sustain is what most fights come down to. I would, in the past, I would have agreed with that, Knight, on YouTube. But with the amount of sustain people now have in PvP, kind of don't need it, in all honesty. And so I wouldn't like super panic. There's a sword and shield. So when you go sword and shield, Rallying Cry. Let's just grab the sword. I always go for a sword because I like how it looks. Like I know on sword and shield it doesn't matter about the one-handed weapon. I like how it looks, so that's what I go with. It's just force of habit. I do think this set needs a nerf, by the way. Rallying Cry is really busted. Very, very strong set. So what we're going to do is we're going to do what's called a back bar, front bar push. When we're on the back bar, the Rallying Cry will turn on. When we're on the front bar, it will turn off. To achieve this, you essentially need two pieces on the weapon, a body piece, and then some jewelry. This now means that this set turns on when we're on here, but then it turns off when we're here. Okay, we're then going to go and grab Monomyth Reforged. It's a mythic item. It's very good for PvP. The advantage of this item is that it just gives you tons of damage, and it also gives you tons of defense. So it's like really good for both things. We're going to go and grab that now. So I want to say that comes from Solstice, if I remember. There it is. And then we want to get our trainee piece, which would be a heavy armor chest. Again, maximizing resistances. So what this now allows you to do basically is to have a high defense bit. And then we then have Monomyth for even more crits. And then I would probably go, the class mastery set's really good. Another set that's similar and easy to use is the trial set, Null Arcana. That's very, very strong with Templar. So I'm going to put on Null Arcana because most people have that and it's easier to get than the class mastery set, but I do prefer the class mastery set because it's AoE. As I said, this is a trial set. It's quite annoying to farm. There they are down here. It's a medium armor set. And if you can get the perfected one, you do get a bit of extra damage, which is nice. and you get this really big proc at the bottom. So I think this proc will work quite well with what we're trying to do as a 2R build, which is to get all the body pieces. You might notice as I've been building this character, I haven't focused on my sustain or my health. And the reason I do this is I use like my glyphs and my Mundustone and food as a way to then tweak and refine the build to what I need. So it's just kind of a good way to really play. When it goes to lightning stuff, and then put on rest of no honor. So when we switch to the front bar, no Arcana turns on. When we switch to the back bar, it turns off. And Rallying Cry turns on. What we can then do is chuck on... Oh, sorry, there's a weird icon I've just not seen. A Slayer, that's just it looks different for some reason. And what we can then do is put on a monster set of choice. Now, in all honesty, you have a lot of options of what you do here. As we don't have a sustain set, I'd probably go with Roska. And these are like, if you're trying to go really strong sets, these are very strong stat dense sets. Or you can do what I like to do for a just more consistent playstyle, is 1 piece Baron Thrisk, and then 1 piece Magma Incarnate. You get very similar sustain as to Roska, but you don't have to have the stay in the combat the whole time. I'm just looking for Magma Incarnate, there it is. Go for that one, and then that one there. So going for heavy head and shoulders. Then Impen. So by using this set instead of Roska, we just get higher base sustain at all times, whereas Roska will give you better peak sustain, but only if you're in the fight for at least 20 seconds. That's where the difference falls off, and there's about 100 sustain difference at the end. It's not huge. Okay, so that's the build and what I'd use set wise. I'm going to just tweak it now with some glyphs and some food. Let's get all of our glyphs and our food. So I'm probably going to go with citrus fillet if you want sustain, or sugar skulls. So I'm going to start with citrus fillet, but I might switch to sugar skulls because the extra stamina is quite nice. And then we want the glyphs. So I'm going to go for prismatic across the board this time. I'm going to go grab some spell damage ones. And then I'll probably grab... I would be inclined to try the weapon damage one, ironically, because we can boost it quite high with how high our base damage will be. The one thing we need to get into the build is major sorceries, which I'll tweak the skills in a second for that. We will change our Mundus to the Lover. So you can see by doing that we've got 30k health, so we've got a good amount of health. Our damage is 3k, we've got 5k pen, we need to change all our traits and stuff now. So this is going to become sharpened. This will become defending. And then the shield will become Impen. And with there being access to more crit sources next patch, I would really consider getting some Impen or Reinforce going. So Reinforce on your heavy helmet is worth considering. And same for the shoulders, because we are running Rallying Cry. So we'll do it for the chest too. Because these are all heavy, I'm going to do it here too. These are all medium with all lightweight. And I'll probably do these as like well fitted or some Impen in the mix. I'll probably go with like 2 or 3 well fitted. Just to get that dodge roll nice and cheap, and just 1 piece impen. And the reason we're doing just 1 impen is because Rallying Cry will carry the crit resist. But if you want, you could go full impen and just like block tank. But I like to roll personally, that's how I like to play. I might notice my max stamina is a little low, so I might change. And I'm going to change all the bits down here now, okay? So we're going to go for the jewelry, change to be infused. So we now have 1700 recovery, which is okay. We need to go get our spell damage boost. I'm probably going to use a scribe skill for this because they're just generally better to use. Or spell damage if you can. We're going to grab the scribing set. So we've got all the scribe skills here. We can just reload the UI to get rid of this animation. The poll is going, should we go for 2 bar or 1 bar? It is leaning 2 bar, which is why we're doing it. And what you'll notice, I'm aiming for like a core set of stats. So when you make a build for PvP, if you're new to the game, 30,000 health, kind of like minimum in all honesty. You want at least 16 to 1800 recovery without a potion. If you're newer, add more regen, it will keep you alive. If you've got no sustain, you will die. So it's better to do less damage and stay alive because you haven't run out of resource than to run out of resource and die. Get as much pen as you can. Sometimes it's a bit limited on your weapon and your sets, you can't do much about that, and then get your armor as high as you can. So bear in mind you'll have major and minor resolve, so these will go up quite drastically. We are going to scribe a skill now, and we go to probably contingency. Now we could use like a damage shield or a heal. We could put on class flourish, which is really nice. You get even more armor and damage out of it, and you could go for something like resolve. So you have a few options with how you do this. Because we use Vigor, we're going to get resolve quite easily, so I'll go for intellect and endurance just to get more sustain. Gladiator tenacity is also worth looking at. But this is also a burst heal, which we could use as an option. You will notice that we don't get a damage buff out of this, so we would have to change that to be a damage buff. If you do this, you get 12 seconds, which is not too long. If you look at the Willed Soul, this is also 10 seconds. So if you go down the scribe skill for the damage buff, it is very low duration. So I often just fix this by going for Mage Guild and just grabbing Degeneration, which is the damage buff. It's at range. It's a free dot. It's pretty decent. And then I'd either go Live in Dark or go Vigor. I'll probably go Vigor because of how I play. So we're going to do our champion points. Get that in. And this will give you like a 2-bar build of what I would use personally. So go Fight and Finesse. Very, very good. I'd then go for Focus and Mending because that's really high healing. It really helps. Put on these. Dragon Reaper says Nightblade Mastery is bugged. It's given the bonus when your HP is low, so I tried it with True Swarm Fury and Titan War for gank build. Oh, that's nasty. Dragon, are you on PTS at the moment by chance? I know you like doing testing on there. We're going to go for direct damage. Because if you are on there, I'd love to try my Oaken Soul Sorcerer on somebody. Because I'm very, very happy with it. He's put that. There's a symbol, I'm not sure what that symbol means. It's like a squiggle with an A, which probably might come across as quite offensive, but I don't know what it means. I'll take that as yes, maybe? If you are, drop me a message in game, if you can. So we're just getting all of our nice bits. Sustained by Suffering is fantastic. Pain's Refuge is fantastic. But these are like the staple ones you get for PvP. And you can put like extra health or armor or regen. Health, ironically, is quite powerful. Because the higher your health, the harder it is to die. Armor is also quite good, ironically. But this final one, you kind of use what you want. I'm going to put armor there just for a bit extra. Dragon says, not on now, won't be until much later. Yeah, I think you're US based, aren't you? And I will definitely be off if it's like much later because I've got work tomorrow morning. So for the Templar, what we'll do is buff up. So we've got 5,200 spell damage without Rallying Cry already, which is pretty decent, and that's got a 13k tooltip. That's pretty dark. That's dirty, that is. Yeah, 5,600 spell damage. That's really high. Our damage scale is so high with those changes. Let's go into Imperial City, because we can like do it in a duel. Like when I say it's a duel, we can go against a tankier enemy and just proc our stat. We can also then look at our like defense and so on. Do we have enough defense? Do we not? So defense wise, we have 30k resistances and 3k crit resist, which is decent. We could go more. We go for more impen. So we are going to be nice and tanky with that set of stuff. Well, then this will give you an idea of a 2-bar Templar. Like if you go, I don't know what to run, this is what I would use. So we'll buff up like we would. There's our Rallying Cry. So we have 6,000 spell damage, which is pretty tasty. That is a lot of spell damage, that is. And then, how much is our mastery worth with that? Let's go get it up, because our damage is quite, that's climbed stupidly high. That mastery still 65, so that doesn't actually scale with damage. That's really interesting. Yeah, this Judgment's brand, this doesn't go up or down. This is literally just flat. Not that good actually, because it's only like an extra 300 damage, which is not massive. A Bastion of Light, your Sacred Ground is applied. While Sacred Ground is active, you heal for 2/7. So I wonder, let me... do we go for a bit more healing then? Because this will apply with jabs. Or not. I don't think it will, but it will apply with solar AoE stuff. Yeah, because we have to use Spear Shards. But it says it does apply with this. Yeah, so we're healing, we are, every pulse of that. So, this doesn't feel that good in all honesty. So let's drop this. While Sacred Ground is active, you gain a damage shield. That was terrible. And then the Sacred Ground active, that's terrible. The Templar masteries are just really bad for PvP. But you've basically got a tiny bit of extra damage, or you have a little bit of healing. But you've got a shield, which is not great. And when you got this one here. Oh, he's tanky boy. What it says, is the new DK good for PvP now? Do you mean the 1-bar build that I made, or do you mean just the changes? The class DK is very good. Very, very, very good. Broad says Judgment is really strong. It does add to every tick, and in IEC it's halved already. I think the tooltip doesn't change. So it's 625. I thought it was 625 before. I'll quickly check because curious. But yeah, to Modest's question on Twitch, the Dragonite changes are very good. Like DK is one of the strongest classes now. It's a really, really good class. It's got great mobility, it's got great damage, burst damage, AoE damage, stupidly high sustain. It's like, it's definitely A if not S tier. Whereas something like Necromancer is like F, it's like off the cliff kind of thing. So I'd say DK is kind of as good as a Nightblade. He's on 50k health DK. Oh, he's on a health werewolf. He's on his hurricane. Yeah, he doesn't look like he's going to kill that werewolf anytime soon. He has so much health. The green skill styles look awesome. Easy distracted. So if we look at the mastery for this, it is 12. Okay, so it was halved already. So 650 is not too bad. I will probably then, yeah, I'll stick to the Judgments brand and Bright Harbinger. They're like the best two. Beyond that, there isn't anything else you can do with these masteries for Templar. Like they're very limited for PvP. Is my like compared to Sorcerer, all of them had use. But in all honesty, this isn't going to have much use because you're not sitting in AoEs. And you're not really using Solar Barrage for damage in PvP. The shield is every 6 seconds. It's going to fall off really quick in PvP and the regen's quite low. And then this again, it's just increasing the amount you can block, which is not that good for PvP, unless you're a tank, and even then it's niche at best. So that's going to go on for like hours, that fight there. But the Werewolf's healing is really high. But if you want to look at the superstar, this is what I would use. Now, Road says it's only good if you use Solar Barrage, the Bastion of Light. Yeah, I think you have no option for it. But then if you use Solar Barrage, like you could turn Solar Barrage into a heal. So if you did like Solar Barrage, it's every 2 seconds there's an AoE damage around you. It increases your damage of class abilities by 5%. Like it's not bad. But then like you come down to what do you drop? Like you could drop the Execute. People dodge that now a lot. So if I did that, I would obviously get the 5% boost to everything, which is great. These all hit harder. And then I'll get the extra healing, which would be 2/7, so like 1300 in PvP, which again is not bad. But that's every 2 seconds, because this is only every 2 seconds. Because Solar Barrage is actually every 2 seconds. So you have to go, you get in 1300 every 2 seconds. It's 600 health a second. It's really low, 600 health a second. My Skull says, for PvE, would that stack with Dragon's Grip as well? Well, that was my initial thoughts with this one. Because it's done with every damage tick. So like for a dot build, this could be quite fun. Or like rapid strikes or jabs, because it will apply really quickly. If you use elemental susceptibility, this should apply to everything. But because it's only Templar abilities, not a huge amount of damage. Because it's not like everything like Dragonkin, so Dragonkin would work with it. I don't think it's going to be worthwhile. Again, because this is only on Templar abilities, this not that good. Because realistically, as a Templar, you're either going jab, that's 3 procs, so 1800, 600 obviously is half in PvP, 1800 extra on this. This is like now 14-15k effective tooltip. Not that high, in all honesty, compared to like the Shock and Soul that was like 16k we had. It was stupid. Again, this is... I'm not convinced, is what kind of my point. Is that tanky wolf. I just want to see, do I have combat metrics on for PvP? Add-on settings. Okay, we'll take it as a no. Okay. Let's see if Rhino will. I just want to see how hard. Oh, it is. Awesome. Oh, that fossilized. Absolute pain in the arse, that is. That whip. How hard the whip hit me. 8k, 8k, 8k. Did the thing show on it? I don't think it did. I'll do that again. Whip is nasty. Whip is nasty. I want to see if it's good. I don't think it showed in the combat metrics. So I'm trying to look for it. I can't see it. Like, I know it's obviously damage done. He's one in corrosive. That's what he did to me. That is, as soon as you get that whip spam, I think they need to nerf the 5 in a row though, because it's so much instant damage. I'll fight him again though. For the little mammoth. I don't even have any potions. He's got corrosive on. Literally, as soon as you get... There it is, see? You can tell corrosive is on. For dueling, DK is so good for dueling. So good for dueling. It literally has like everything you want to duel. This feels like the damage is okay. We got way more to sustain than we actually need though. Way more to sustain than we need. The Templar lacks real burst, doesn't it? Do you see what I mean? Yeah. Survival-wise, as long as we're not being hit with corrosive whip cheese, we can stay alive relatively well. He's got a decent spec. He has. Fight him again though, because Templar is my least played class of PvP, by the way. I do feel like these are like the only real passives we can use. And then we're going to quickly check in a moment the Magicka stack Werewolf. Would that be okay or not? But yeah, I'm going to show you the Superstar. I think this is what I would use. Like, it feels the most general, but I do think the Templar, like, mastery, I don't think it's worth it. I'm going to try and get on the soul cove here quick. That's what I want to do. Because for Oakensoul, I'm like, as a sorcerer, I'm like, this thing looks awesome. So we'll bring her over, and we'll see what she is like. Again, it's only Oakensoul, so we've only got 5 bars. Did it go into? I'm going to say no. So I want to try the Sorcerer masteries in combat. Okay, he's just sorting something out. It's good to try and get some fights in. I'm very happy with this though. But this feels decent. Okay, so again, Oakensoul, let's see how this does. Okay, we hit like an absolute truck we do with this. Oh, that was a big whip. That was. I was holding block 2. That was a massive whip. 11k. Yeah, for an Oaken spec, like he's obviously very good on his DK. I don't want to overload spam, because obviously that's... Like if you overload spam, you get a lot of damage. He's a corrosive one he has. I did push my streak, but my streak did not fire. That's annoying. For a 1-bar build, like, we are really, really tanky, surprisingly. His chat, like everything he does heals him, by the way. Yeah, we can stay alive like really well if we want to. For a 1-bar build, our survivability is so much higher than it was. Couldn't see Z break. Could not see Z break. At the end, I had enough there and I was pushing it. It wouldn't fire. Yeah, for 1-bar, I'm very happy with this. Yeah, for 1-bar, this is insane. I'll put on some soul gems so we can actually get the other set going, because we didn't actually have any soul gems on our build. Have a little look at that in a sec. I will. Don't know what to do that. Did not mean to streak twice. I have way too much sustain though. That Silk Mastery is busted, by the way. Honestly, that Silk one is insane. It's 1800 regen plus heals. It's like so stupid. And it's max resource too. Like, it's just... But no, I think for a 1-bar build, this is like really in a good place. DK is obviously very strong, and he's good. It's good to fight people who are decent. Like, his skills are way more inclined for... These dots do tick very hard though on them. I did push my shield, it will fire thankfully. The whip spam, you get hit with that whip, it's just so much damage. Yeah, DK's really good. That DK feels very good for dueling. Like, all this stuff just hits really hard with the whip. The 5 whips in a row were just super busted. As soon as you get that, even when I'm blocking, like, we get hit for like 6k. But yeah, I think we've had a good deep dive into some of the classes. I do think on this build, if I go live with it, I'm going to drop some on my... I'm going to drop the magic recovery. I don't need it. Like, we do not need this magic recovery, in honesty. I'll probably go with stam regen. So, we do not have issues with magic sustain. Let's go with jewelry quickly. I want to tweak the build now, because... Where's stamina recovery? Because that puts our regen up like here. So we've just cheated the glyphs. Yeah, that stand management is way better, isn't it? I hit that block, so how hard did that hit me for that whip? It was corrosive, 11k, literally just goes cut through you. 11k, that corrosive, oof. But no, he does hit hard. I'm also very squishy. You got to bear in mind, Flame Lash hits hard naturally. So he said to me for 11k on my Oaken Sword DK, I'm hitting 11k. It's just the skill hits hard. I'm going to quickly switch to DK. I want to show you how hard DK is. Right. And then I'm going to then probably call it very shortly, okay? For 1 bar, you got to bear in mind he's got 2 bars. This is decent. Very, very happy with this build. Because we're missing, if you look at how much we're missing on a 2-bar build, we would have access to Vigor, which is a big heal over time, and more armor. We would also have access to more burst with Curse. We would have access to more Magicka, or in which case you could probably go with Bound Armaments. So you wouldn't really use this now, but you'd use Bound Armaments, and this is a lot more damage. You'd have like more burst, more consistent damage, which is really nice. You also got better sustain options if you want, and more damage from Berserk. You've got more passive healing. So like a 2-bar version of this would be way stronger, which is really good. I'll ask him what's his whip tooltip. His tooltip feels about 18k, roughly. Yeah, so he's just a Procky's whip. It feels anywhere from like an 18 to about 21k tooltip. I'm curious to see what it is. It said it feels around that. But he's good, he's just checking. Always crashed. For 1 bar, like the burst we have is very high. Do you see what I mean? Like, there's a lot of burst. But it does hit very, very hard. Tried to go for the whip, but it's the power lash. 7k. It hits so hard. Because you see that the peak burst, that's hitting for 4.7, 3.4, so that's like 8k between the two of them. 13k, 15k. We've got obviously our Shocking Soul, like 16k roughly, 18,000. So we're doing like 18 to 20k instant burst. Yeah, he's got a sweat build, 100%. Here's what his whip bit is. But yeah, some of the masteries feel really, really good. So I'm very happy. I think these are good. These are very, very good ones. It's a bit buffy because if that's 7k, that like it should just like be about 15k. Yeah, he's got a lot. He's got like major berserk on that. It looks like if it's going up that high, and the DK landslide passive. Because our shield is, our shield is big. It's 13k shield. But we can eat the damage. Absolutely fine. It just drains us down really quick. Very good for dueling though. That's very good for fighting against. But yeah, I'm going to switch to a different character because I want to show the werewolf quick. Yeah, I'm going to go switch to a different character, just do the werewolf part that Brode was asking about. And then I'll jump onto the others, like I probably would use a Sulk, but what we want to just quickly check is, I'll delete this one here. Basically, what is the magic of sustain like as a werewolf? Sorry, the stamp sustain as a werewolf. And if you go a sorcerer, I reckon you can make it work. So we did like a sorcerer dark elf, for example. I'm not going to put on the sets, in all honesty, because I do think the skills will carry it enough, the passives and stuff, if you go down the Sulk mastery. But we'll quickly check it, okay? And then, yeah, we've been able to kind of show two decent specs. Obviously, the Oakensall one, it's a 1-bar build, so just back to the lack of healing, like that passive that really, really helps us out, which is very, very helpful. And then the Templar one, you could see like against the person who didn't have that real like, high burst duel spec, we could like hold it and it was literally just a duel, and it was a draw in the end. So I think both are like in a pretty good space, but I feel the Templar needs more burst with the masteries. There's not enough like instant damage on it. We'll suppress that, we'll grab that. We're going to quickly just check the werewolf. Consumables, werewolf maxer. We're going to put all our points into Magicka. And this is just because Brode was asking about, like, could we do something with the werewolf? Or going down the Magicka route? Hey, you're right, can't. Yeah, your DK thing is nuts. Yeah, no, yeah. So Kant's just saying, respect the duels. Got to point out to everyone playing sweat builds gets boring fast. 100%. The stuff I make is more fun and for more casual people to get into PvP. That's what I want to try and do. Like, if I wanted to make sweat meta stuff, it would just be the same sets every single time, and it's boring. So I'd rather have things that are fun, more niche, gets people playing the game. And obviously, I've seen some of your stuff as well, and you kind of do a similar thing. So yeah, no, it's always good. So cheers for doing that. We're just testing very quick. Can you do a Magicka werewolf? Somebody asked on stream, which I thought was an interesting idea because all the skills are stamina based. But with some of the changes with the Sulk Mastery in particular, this gives you a lot of stamina. So it makes the skills that are dirt cheap already even cheaper because it's basically like 400 regen. So that will really, really help. And then you could put on something like static reverberation, which is just, again, free damage. So as a werewolf PvE, you just run this and run this. So we're just going to like check the sustain. Does it feel like doable? Or do you really need to have like lots of glyphs? Or maybe a sustain set? And then we'll quickly jump into werewolf form. Kant says, is bad at werewolf, but a solid build is Stone Hulk Domination, Fight Can Soul Fry, Oaken Soul, or Huntsman Mythic. All procs from 1 heavy. Yeah, that Volk Fire thing's really good. A werewolf's really fun. I did a video kind of breaking it down. But the changes this time around, it looks awesome, it sounds awesome. But more importantly, like the gameplay loops more engaging. Because you're like having to play around charging ultimate to then get the rampage, to then have free werewolf sustain, to then charge up the ultimate enough to then rinse and repeat. So you're like really encouraged to actively rotate your skills, which I think is really cool. And then it also gives you periods of like peak burst because the rampage increases your damage. So I think they've got done really well with this. And if you're a bit worried about werewolf sustain and staying in it, just use pack leader. It fixes it anyway. So it's quite nice. I normally use this though. So, and then they've added a werewolf beam. This is hilarious. You got to like try this. It's stupid. It's like really, really funny. So we're going to hop into werewolf quick. I'm going to just change my stuff so I can see all my attributes and things. Yes, I use the base stuff I have for years because of a console player. I did it for like 4 years when ESO was on Xbox. There's my attributes. There it is. Okay. The best race for werewolf, it depends on what you want. If you want like high speed, Orc will give you speed and damage. The speed comes from their sprint passive. If you want extra healing sustain, Dark Elf gives you damage and sustain because you've got more magic to work with, so more heals. You also got really high damage because of the weapon damage. You've got flame resist and everybody's a DK. So flame resist, very, very valuable this patch, in all honesty. Beyond that, I probably would go with those two. Or you go with like a Nord for just extra sustain. Or Imperial if you want to stay in Werewolf a bit easier. Because you get ult gen or cost reduction with either. So, me personally, I'd go as Dark Elf. I think it's probably the best versatile. So what is our stam regen at base? We have like 800 recovery. Yeah, Yeah, so I would imagine that's a similar amount. So what I want to do is, can you sustain it enough? Because this procs our blood magic. So we're just going to do... I'm just going to spam... I think that's my most expensive stamp skill. Yeah, this is like... My stamina is not really going down, is it? Yeah, that's actually quite nuts, that is. We're going to Rampage. I'll just go quick. So our regen is, what's that one? 800. But because of this passive here, this is giving us like so much back. Because obviously, like if you half the regen, that's essentially 416 every second. Add on this, so that's what it's 716. You're looking at about 800 stam every second, roughly. And our skills, in all honesty, are like costing 800 or less. So to the question, like, can you go as a magical werewolf? I think you could. Like, you might need one stam glyph. If you go as a sorcerer and just run conservation of energy, you're pretty much sorted. Which is actually really cool, because that sustain is like insane. Like our drain, like look, it's 388. The drain's 385. Yes, we waited a little bit, but you could definitely make that work. Like 100% make that work. And if you put on like the Soul Foray set, when you heavy attack, you get like Major Berserk, Major Courage, or Major Force. As a werewolf, you're doing this all anyway. Like that's a big part of your combo. Lil Boise, I think it's pronounced, says, how do you, like the werewolf ult, how does that work? The unique part. There's a video on the channel that breaks it down massively, but the TLDR is when you're in combat, you generate a stat called Fury, which is this blue bar underneath your magicka. Might be hard to see. It used to be the one that goes down with Werewolf. This time you fill it up, and when it's full, your ultimate then changes, and you can then activate Rampage mode, which will give you increased damage, increased speed, and all of your skills, including the transformation, cost 0 until it runs out. During this moment, you can still charge Fury. So if I go into combat, let me go into a second. You'll see that my ultimate will just drain itself naturally. It will. And I can't really use it unless I get this blue bar to full. The way to get the blue bar to full is by using different skills. And every skill will charge it up. Some skills give bonus. So like this Howl Morph gives me 2. And this Pounce gives me an extra dot tick. And I can obviously chuck this on lots of things to then charge this up even faster. So you can see we're getting big jumps to that blue bar. So like if you're playing with lots of people, Feral Pounce will let you charge this really quick. And then when it's fully charged, we can then do the ultimate. Now it's changed. It might even show on the actual skill. Yeah, there it is. And as you do this, you get 20% speed, 15% damage done, 4k health regen, and all your stuff's free to use. And whilst you do this, it's active now. I can still charge this bar up again. So then, like the way in which the werewolf sustains is by playing this mini game of charging up this, keeping your ultimate topped up, and like with pack leader, you can basically sit in werewolf forever. It's really simple. What's also really nice with the werewolf changes is as you are a werewolf, if you're not in combat, this doesn't go down. So this 385 will stay like this forever, and it's currently 0 to stay in this form. So I can move around like this absolutely fine. If I don't get stuck. So I can move around this absolutely fine. There's no issues with this. My sustain is forever, which means in a dungeon, when you're going from pack to pack to pack of enemies, you're not constantly having to like rush to go, oh no, I'm going to fall off werewolf because it's going to drop because I'm not attacking quick enough. I can just go from like group to group to group, but have some breathing time in the middle so you're not constantly racing. As soon as you drop out of combat, the sustain stops being an issue. But your fury doesn't drop. That stays there, which is really nice. So it kind of makes it really easy to stay in form, especially for PvE. That's kind of how Werewolf works, basically. And then Two Broad's question earlier, if he's here, a Magicka one works. Just stat Magicka as much as you want. Run like maybe 1,000 stam regen at most, and then just be a Sorcerer. Be a Sorcerer with conservation of energy, and you're good to go. Which is quite weird to think as being a Magicka-based werewolf, because it's not what I would normally do. But it also means you have so much heal options. Because if you've got literally, I've got 30,000 Magicka to work with, and my only Magicka skill is my heal, it means I can just spam this, and I'm not going to run out of Magicka for a very, very, very long time. Look. Like, look how many burst heals that is in a row. That is like insane. And that's not even pushing Magicka like to the limits. So yeah, I'm going to go and probably wrap it up here though, guys, because it is late where I am. It's gone midnight. That said, if you are interested in like other builds and stuff coming to the channel, this build's coming to the channel. It's my Templar DK bomb thing, which is really fun to play. It's high, like aggressive playstyle, so in, out, hit like a truck. What's really nice with this though is that you don't need the ultimate to blow up groups of people. It has enough AoE burst because of just the DK skills that we don't need the ultimate, as you saw there. But then if you want to use the ult, you can then use it to get even quicker killing power. So it's just really, really fun to play, highly aggressive, but highly effective. And this will be coming to the channel. There'll be a members like tips as well. But that's going to come to the channel very soon. So if you want to see that, obviously like, subscribe, it really helps out. And I'm just going to take this opportunity to say a massive thanks to everybody who supports. If you want to do that, there's details down below. But as always, I'm going to say thanks for watching. I'll catch you next video or stream. Take care, and bye.